There's a small music store downtown that I've always been interested in going to, but I just hadn't found the time to go inside. Well, one day I did. I noticed the building was beaten up and there was a crooked sign outside, but whatever, I went in. There was a rack of t-shirts for bands I never heard of, which I guess was kind of common given that this was a small indie store shop. Maybe they were local bands or something. And there was a CD rack up near the front counter. Again, nothing uncommon for a CD store. I leafed through the CDs, and something finally caught my attention. It was an Eminem CD that I never heard of before. I mean, I'm a pretty big fan of Eminem's earlier work. I do think his newer stuff is less than decent, but I thought I had a pretty good grasp of what was in his discography. Anyway, the cover for the album was just the standard Eminem logo over a plain white backdrop. The only difference from what you would expect was that the M at the end was kind of scratched out, so it appeared to read E mine on the cover. Okay. The back of the CD was entirely blank, no track listings, nothing like that. I mean, I was intrigued by what I found, and I decided to go ahead and buy it. I went to the guy at the counter, I asked if he ever heard of this release, and he just kind of gave me a funny look, as if he didn't remember putting the CD on the rack, and all he said was, "That'll be $3." Hmm. I went back to my car, curious as to why he would be so weary over something like this. But whatever. I was looking forward to hearing unreleased Eminem material. When I got home, I popped the CD into my computer, and it didn't respond at first. I did the old spit wash trick, if you know what I mean, and guess what? It worked. It took a longer amount of time to load up than I hoped it would, but my computer's kind of a piece of shit, so I went, whatever. There were only 6 files on the disc, so I just figured it was an EP. 5 of them were standard audio files, while one was a video. Oh, yay, bonus material. That's cool. The files weren't properly labeled, just a mishmash of letters. I played the first track, and it was an intro spoken by Eminem, which, that's nothing out of the ordinary. It seemed normal. It was talking about the struggles in his life, how his dad left him at a young age. You know, typical Eminem kind of stuff, but midway through, I noticed he sounded uneasy. He was talking faster, as if he just wanted to get the intro over with. It seemed odd, but I figured maybe it was a joke, like some of his skits or something, so I just went, okay. I clicked the second track, and it was an earlier version of the song Stan, which is one of my favorites, about an obsessed fan who killed himself and his girlfriend. The song sounded mostly the same as the original Stan, or whatever, the version we know. But when Stan talked about what he did to his girlfriend, he was extremely graphic compared to the version on the Marshall Mathers LP. Okay, was this like some sort of unreleased thing that the record label thought was a little too... I don't, whatever. The beats sounded really low quality. I heard pops and cracks every now and then. I started to get slightly uneasy. I proceeded to click the third track. Boy, was it something. It was a mess. It's basically a bunch of songs off other albums, but like copied and pasted to form new sentences. Some of the words were distorted or reversed. I couldn't quite make out the lyrics, but I think he was trying to get some sort of message across, and he sounded panicked like the intro. I clicked the next track, and I heard popping noises, much like the ones in track 2. It was a new song, only extremely muffled, so I didn't know what I was listening to. Eminem sounded really damn angry on the track, almost like the song Kim from the Marshall Mathers LP. Eventually, it was more like screaming more so than rapping. The song abruptly ended with a loud, ugly screech. Man, I was practically shitting bricks at this point. I was shaking. So naturally, I was reluctant to click the final track. I'd want to watch some TV to just, get my act back together and chill out. But later on, I felt like I could click that last track. This one was dead silence for about a minute and a half, and then a very faint beat played in the background. I made it out to be a reversed version of Kill You. A little while later, Eminem started screaming in the most panicked voice he just yelled, "What the hell are you doing here? Run!" He basically repeated this every 15 seconds for the next 2 minutes. After this, it cut to dead silence for about 3 minutes. Cut back to him yelling again, but he was even more panicked. After a while, it sounded like Eminem was being choked, coughing, and gurgling was heard. The track was 10 minutes long, and I was at about 7. I immediately closed Winamp. I was even worrying about the video file that was included in the CD. About 2 days later, as you might have guessed, I was chilled out enough to watch the video. The video was a different music, video for Stan. It showed Stan killing his wife and the corpses after being found in water. This looked like it was taken with like a camcorder rather than a high-end camera used in music videos. As I got about halfway through the video, I couldn't bear to watch more and turned off my computer. I put the CD back. I did recently find that there were about probably 2 other copies released from what I know. I was searching the internet while I found someone selling a copy on eBay under the title Rare Unreleased Eminem CD. There weren't any bids at the time, but I contacted him about it and I figured I'd ask him some questions. He told me that he found it at a local music store much like the one in my town. He said he listened to it, roughly 6 minutes of the final track before deciding it was too scary to continue. Now, if you find one of these copies, let me know. I want to know where you found it. I want to know what your experience was like. And I want to know what happens after the 7th minute. Everybody has a face that they hold inside. It's like I'm paranoid looking over my back. It's like a whirlwind inside of my head. It's like I can't stop what I'm hearing within. It's like the face inside is right beneath my skin.